So again, good morning, everybody. I want to welcome, our Bible. I want you to know that we started this series. I was inspired. You know that if I'm a woman of faith, and I do my best to follow the leading of the Lord, and I knew I was supposed to bring forth this message. I've told you guys week after week that I didn't know how long it was going to go on. It was going to go on as long as he told me to go on, but I do know that today is the conclusion of this series. Okay, and some people have questioned you, why did you do it? Well, I just told you the main reason why. That God inspired me to do it, but it really does bother me when I hear people not understand money. I don't know. It's kind of like they don't think if you have a strong faith that you should have any interest in money. And it's so far from the truth. And they feel guilty if they make money, or they think that it's against God to make money. But everything has a purpose, and God has a big purpose in your work. It is not wrong to make money. It's his purpose that you make money. It's his purpose that you prosper. And this is not a name it, claim it, get rich quick kind of talk. I'm just saying that it's his purpose for you to work. And so that's why we brought it forward, just to kind of put things in perspective for people. There are sound principles, whether you're a person that shares my faith or not. There's sound principles of integrity and practice that the devout Jewish people still follow from the Bible. And I'm not picking on any demographic or pointing anything out, but if you look at the devout Jewish community, boy, they're surviving people. They're the one demographic that you'll see that was slammed over and over, millions of people annihilated, and yet they've come out of the storms in life, and they don't look back and tell everybody we still owe them because we hurt them. They just move on. You know why? Because they know that God has a plan for their future, and they understand the steps they need to take to succeed. And you'll see these people, massive amounts of wealth in that community. In fact, you see people that during the Holocaust, they lost a lot of wealth. Many of them were tremendously wealthy. They lost everything, their possessions and everything. And those that survived, bounced back. Many of them came to the U.S. and built wealth all over again. Why is that? Well, we know they're God's chosen people, no doubt about that. But more importantly, it's because they follow sound principles of the Bible. They don't hop around looking for one thing to get involved with another thing to get involved with. They master their trade, they stick with it, and they keep the godly principles, and the wealth follows. So it's not necessarily in life what we want to do, people going from business to business, or where people just randomly saying, oh, I love, to make quilts, so I'm going to open a quilt shop. That's not necessarily the way it needs to go. They find a trade, they master it, and they become the best at it. And that's what we need to do as well. So that's a little background on why we started this. We did secret number 1. It kind of filters through the whole lesson here, or the session, if you would. Well, it's God wants us to be obsessively preoccupied with the needs of others. Every single thing and principle that you would read about that the Jewish people follow, that would be number 1, filtered through every other, law, if you will. It's that we're supposed to put other people's needs ahead of our own. And that, again, is not just saying, oh, that's really sad, that street person. It's not about just thinking things. It's not about just saying a quick prayer in your mind. It's being obsessively preoccupied with the needs of others. If you want to be successful, you've got to put the needs of others before yourself. You've got to put their needs above thinking about, well, I'm going to make a sale and I'm going to make this much money. That shouldn't even be in your mind. You should be obsessively preoccupied with the needs of others. Number 2 is we're wired to work. So we might whine and moan and say, I want to go off to, Puerto Rico and retire and drink pina coladas. It ain't supposed to work that way, folks. Don't shoot the messenger. We were wired to work, and we're wired to work every day of our lives. Why? Because our work is for his purpose, is not for your purpose. So that never ends. Your purpose in this world never ends until you die. So you're wired to work. It's time to get happy about that, enjoy it, see your work for what it is. It shouldn't be laborious and all that if you've got the right perspective on why you have work in the first place. Number 3 was you got to be willing to change. I mean, that's true in anything in life. It's true with raising our children, with a mate, with our friendships, with our business. You've got to be willing to change. So if you struggle with being hard-headed, thinking you already know everything and you don't need to change, good example of that would be people that refuse to get on like the leadership calls. I don't need that. I don't need to change. I got it going on. All I need to do is make money. You're really, really, really in big trouble, okay? So secret number 3 is you've got to be willing to change. Secret number 4 was we need other people. You can't live in a bubble. You can't sit in the recliner with the remote and never expect to interact with other people. God didn't wire you that way. He didn't make the world that way. If he did, he would have made Adam and then given him Eve, and that would have been it. Wouldn't be anybody else out there, okay? But he used his business as a platform for us to do ministry for him. We need other people, right? Secret number 5 was we find a need and fill it. So if we're going to be successful in life, again, we don't just say, well, I'm really good at quilting, so I'm going to open a quilt shop. What we need to do is find that need and fill it. I can't think, for those of you that are on the call that share my business, I can't think of a better need. You know, everybody on the planet needs water, first of all, and certainly we are in not a health care crisis, we're in a health crisis. So we have found a need in our world, and we need to be filling it. Secret number 6 was become a people person. Again, God didn't design you to be alone. That concept, you know, is for every area of your life. You can't see fulfillment. I know people, I could write a list of people that just live in a cocoon. I mean, you know, single people that never reach out, you know, the world revolves around them. I know couples that think they're the only 2 people on the planet. They never reach out. God did not design it that way. And unless you get out of that mode and go out and live and become a people person, whatever that looks like, okay, you can't see fulfillment, you can't see joy, and you'll never see success. So that's non-negotiable. Secret number 7 was we love those we serve more than those who serve us. So it kind of looks like on the surface, wow, you know, people are going to good to me, and people bless me this week like you can't imagine. You know, you do love them, and you think, wow, this is so awesome. But we actually love those we serve more than those who serve us. An example that we gave was being a parent. You know, you would think that for all that we practically do for our children, you know, we love them more than life, and we provide their food and their shoes and their braces and all these things. You would think that all those things, that they'd actually love us more, but it's the other way around, isn't it? We serve them, and we love them more because we serve them. So that's you know, an important thing to put in perspective, that the more you serve, think about secret number 1. If you're obsessively preoccupied with the needs of others and you're doing more serving than you're doing receiving, wow, oh, wow. Not only will you see joy, you'll see amazing success. And so the secret, if you will, today, number 8, is God wants us to give away our resources. Well, you know what? I tell you, if you know the Bible, you know that it's an age-old problem. You know, greed, greed, greed. That doesn't just come down to money, folks. We've got all kinds of resources that God gives us, and we tend to hoard them all. But He gives them to us so that we can give away. You know, God is the source of everything. He's the source of our economy, which means not only just our national global economy, it means He's the source of all your money, all your commerce, all your work. He's the source of it all. You did nothing. You can practice good principles and follow good lead. You know, you can be a person of integrity and you work like a dog, but none of it comes to you outside of Him. So He's the source of all of it. And God uses our work to supply us not only just with money to meet our own needs, but He uses our work as a place and a platform for Him, not for you. So again, when you get that perspective of your work, that really it has nothing at all to do with that. You going out and laboring away to get a commission check, it has nothing to do with that. Once you can get your eyes off of that and understand it's not about you, it's about Him, that your work is a platform for Him. For those of you on the call that share my business, you know that the owner of our company, you know, multi-million dollars in sales every year, keeps saying, stop trying to sell water devices. Why is he saying that? Because he shares my faith, and he understands that what we do is not about water devices. It's about being a platform for God. It's not about you. And there's an order to business. You know, there are laws and principles for us doing business, but all of that is to prepare for us to give it away. Now, what does that mean? So, you know, like, what are we giving away? We give away all of it. You don't literally give away, you know, every penny of your money or every, you know, minute of your time, but you do give all of your resources, your time, folks. Your time has been allotted, and it's been allotted for a purpose. It's not your time. You know, your faith was not an accident. So, you know, He gives us the resources of faith and hope, salvation, money, time, all of it He's given to you. So you know what? You got to start giving it away. It all belongs to Him, or it all comes by Him. So why are we hoarding it? Why do we look at all these things and think it belongs to us? I mean, with such arrogance that we have, you know, or how selfish can we be when we don't want to give away anything? You know, we're all given the same amount of time each day. And we've all known people. I look at some people and say, oh my goodness, I am such a slouch. I don't know how they get all this stuff done every day. They get it done because they manage their time. But you know, we're all given the same amount of time each day. We don't all get the same amount of years, but we all get the same amount of time each day. And none of us have found the secret to having more time. But some of us absolutely found the secret to allotting what is ours to another. So regardless of the fact that we have the same amount of time, each one of us, some of us are able to find the time or willingly give the time to another in spite of the fact that our time is busy. Time is the most precious commodity we have, you know. So why do we hoard it all for ourselves? You know, why do we say, well, my football's on. I don't feel like doing that. Well, I want to go play golf. I don't want to go do that. Why do we do that? Time to give to another must be found, and it must be deliberately surrendered. How can we look at principle number one, you know, be obsessively preoccupied with the needs of others and refuse to give anybody else our time? You know, when we're doing our business, that is part of giving our time. You know, if we do a water share, we invite someone to a lunch, or we just sit down and explain what we have, that's absolutely giving our time, and it's giving it in a good direction, but that's not all there is, you know. Some people never find the time, and guess what? When you can't find time to give away some time the way you're honor bound to do, you'll never have enough time. You know that if you refuse to give your time, you'll scramble through life like a little hamster on a wheel. You'll never be able to manage your time because you can't find time for the priorities in this life. God wants us to be good stewards of it all. You know, I know that has to have balance as well. You know, there's some people that think, oh my gosh, you know, they think they're the keeper of all the money. You know, it's crazy. They think without my help, God will squander it. You know, God wants us to be a good steward of it all of it. And if we give more time to the needy, but not enough time to our own family, God can't honor that. You know, you see it all the time. I see people out there volunteering until they want to drop. But guess what? Their family's lacking. You got to have balance in life. He wants us to be a good steward. A good steward doesn't say, I'm going to go give to everybody else, I'm going to forget about my family. A good steward doesn't do that. You know, everything God designs and everything that God gives us requires balance. Time management might sound like, you know, too much of a business term for the kingdom, but time management is key to balance for that kingdom. It really is. If we give all of our time to help another, and we don't give time for our own work, we're out of balance. We'll suffer the financial consequences. I know people that they almost feel like, well, if I go out and I feed the hungry, and I go take care of battered women, and I go do all this, God's going to bless my work. It's just going to show up like, you know, that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Don't work that way, folks. We've got to be mindful. It's a deliberate giving of your time. It's a deliberate managing of your time so that you can willingly and lovingly give time to another. You know, it's the way we balance our life. So a good example of poor time management that we all have seen, you know, it comes to doing the work of God, can be seen often in a pastor's family. You know, we've all heard pastors' kids joke, oh my gosh, you want to see a wild kid? Go see a pastor's kids. You know what? It's not because that family isn't godly. It's not because that home has lacked morality or discipline or any of those things. It's usually more about more time. That pastor has given more time, more energy, more love, more attention to the church, to other people in need, than to doing the work for their own family. They little regard for their own. Somehow thinking that God's going to balance that out on his own, but there's a pecking order, and God tells us to take care of our own. So when that gets out of balance, and a pastor just, you know, sacrificially gives everything he has to give, his time and his heart and his energy, and he doesn't give it to his family, you see the consequences. Time management, God expects us to give away a portion of time that he gives to us, and to give it away wisely. So wisely doesn't mean, by the way, that you get to sit back and pick and choose and say, you know, like you get to decide a whole lot of things. But when you open yourself up to filling the need and make a deliberate attempt to give some of that time to another person, that's using it wisely. Otherwise, do you have any respect for the time, for the days you've been given? You know, are they just about you? You know, are you only here for yourself? You know, nothing could be farther than the truth. So how can we, you know, we don't just throw money at things. Sometimes we actually have to give time to things. And you know what comes with time? When you're willing to give that time, the heart follows. And so suddenly we're back to secret number one. Be obsessively preoccupied with the needs of others, but we do it wisely. We don't do it at the consequence of our own family. We don't do that. So how are you spending or giving your time? You know, ask yourself, what have you really done sacrificially for another person recently? That doesn't mean that you said to somebody that you've known for 25 years that you think might need a pick-me-up, and you say, hey, let's go have a cup of coffee. That's not what we're talking about. What have you done for another recently? Can you even remember the last time that you met a practical need for another person, that you did it? You know, do you have time You know, we all have time. So if you aren't giving away a portion of your time as God expects you to, again, you will never, ever have enough time of your own, and you will never, because of that, will never see success in business. It will never happen. You'll never have enough. And that's why, again, we see some people that are able to balance it all, and you think, how in the world? They just seem like super people. They're not super people. They've gotten the balance of time and the principle of giving away time down pat, and that's what we need to do. God provides us with an opportunity to make money. So, you know, you might think, oh, I'm all that, you know, I've accomplished this, I'm this level, I've sold this many units, I do that. You patting yourself on the back, my friend. It's gonna end up being a beating, not of just a patting on the back. God provides you with the opportunity to make money, and he does it for his purpose and not you. Now, of course, he wants to fulfill your needs. You know, if you're faithful to him, he says, I even take care of the birds in the air. You know, he will provide for your needs. You know, doesn't mean he's going to make you wealthy, but he will provide for your needs. But the other part of that purpose is to fulfill the needs of others. If you never have enough money of your own, how are you going to go out and fill anybody else's needs? There's a balance when it comes to money too. And frankly, one of the early principles that we talked about was that God gives us that inner thing that wants us to want more. It's not the want more to be greedy. I mean, after all, I want as much from God as I can get. And I'm talking about money right now. I'm talking about relationship. I want to feel as much of him as I can feel. That's not out of greed. That's because I want to honor him. I want to know him. And there's a balance when it comes to money too. You should always be looking for more. And it shouldn't be so you can buy a new couch and a new big screen. It should be so that you have the abundance to be able to help somebody else, be it obsessively preoccupied with the needs of others. There's a balance when it comes to money. Managing money and seeing it as a gift and not something you deserve or something you earned is the key, not just to fulfillment and peace and all and success, but it's the key to giving. You know, you can't, you know, again, give sacrificially. I mean, what does that look like? You know, we're supposed to give from the heart. It's supposed to be a little painful. I think most of us, you know, just look at it and say, well, let me look at my checkbook. Now, we don't have any money in there. No, I've only got $4 in there. So they don't give anything, you know. But sacrificially doesn't mean that you give to another without meeting the needs of your family first. That's, again, a principle that many people that share my faith overlook. I see people, I've had them come to me for help, where I help this person, you know, with their electric bill. Now I can't pay my car payment. There's no, come on, guys. That doesn't make any sense. God wants you to be responsible. You know what that means? It means you got to kick it up a notch. If you're only able to meet the basic needs of your family, that you have no abundance, you can't even sacrificially give, you better step it up, because God gives the platform for money for his purpose. So who are you to sit back and say, well, we're good. You know, we got the mortgage paid, the lights are on, got a little food on the table, sit in the remote, get the clicker out, and entertain yourself. Who do you think you are? You know, God expects you to keep on keeping on. If you're feeling tired, like, you know, I was this morning, I confessed that in my Facebook post, you know, and you feel like, wow, you know, how can I go on? You just think about some of the men of the Bible God started using in their 80s or their 90s. Who are you to sit back and say, but I'm tired? So, you know, although the heart is inclined to give, God can't honor giving unless it comes with responsibility. So if you are inclined to meet needs of other people before you meet the needs of your, or try to meet the needs of your own family, guess what? You're going to be in poverty the rest of your life. You'll never have it. It's a balance, and it means go out and look for more. If you need, you know, meet the needs of your family, that's number one. You need to go out and make some more. And who said that you only work 20, 30, 40 hours a week? Who said that? Who set up that law? If you don't have enough money in your family, you need to go out and get more. That doesn't necessarily mean, I'm dealing with some people right now that are looking at my business because their spouses are saying, it's time for you to go back to work. Well, maybe that's, you got to look at a lot of things, guys. If you need more money, maybe there's another answer for you. But you have to fill the needs of your family first. And needs doesn't mean that you, well, first we need to get that big screen we've been talking about, and then we need to go on that Hawaii vacation we've been talking about. Those aren't needs. Those are luxuries. First you fill the needs of your family and not necessarily your wants, and then you give. But that's not just what's left over. It's having a balance. Unless you give, unless you sacrificially give, you'll never have enough. So when's the last time you gave financially to meet the need of another? I'm talking about a practical need. And when's the last time you did it without any thought of whether you'd get it back? Because that's what giving is. We're not talking about loaning somebody some money and that you're going to get back. And if you don't get it back, y'all start fighting, never talk again. We're talking about When was the last time you financially met the need of another? You know, do you believe that you're in poverty and so there you can't give? I'm too poor. I only got $4 in my checking account. So unless you give, you'll always be in poverty. If you have $4 in your checking account, there's 40 cents you can give up. You know what? We could probably, if we kept our eyes open, like, you know, when I was a kid, I tease about, you know, we had poverty and we would be, I can remember the car doors open and my mom saying, get out and go find some Coke bottles because we could get a few cents out of Coke bottles, right? If you're, you know, if you're running through that kind of poverty, unless you do something, you'll always be struggling. But every penny, if you had $44 in your account, 40 cents can come out of there. Unless you give, unless you learn to give, you will always be in poverty. And again, you've got to have that balance. Giving doesn't mean like, oh, I got to go out and pay this person's electric bill, but then you can't buy food or pay your own car payment. That ain't what it's about. But if there's any thought to any lesson that we've had so far that tries to put the, you know, the biblical principles into our work, if anything has ever resonated with you, it should be this. Guys, your work has a purpose and it ain't about you. Okay, God's happy to meet your needs, but you know what? If you're hoarding it for yourself and you've got your 401, you got all stuff going on, you're going on vacations, and you can't help ever find an abundance, you know, to help another person, you don't give out of abundance. There's plenty of rich people that give. It means, you know, not that it's not meaningful, but it's not the same as when you look at your work and you look at your work as the source of you being able to do for yourself and for another. Then that source is no longer a luxury. That source is a necessity. And that kicks us into gear for our business. You know, there's nothing special, again, about giving when your bank account's overflowing. It's kind of like we talk about people, you know, that when everything's going great in life, you know, like, hey, how much time do you give God? You don't really need him. Everything's going great. You know, call upon him when you're in trouble, right? But when your bank account's overflowing, that's a no-brainer. I mean, anybody can do that. But nobody's exempt from giving. Again, if you have $4, you give 40 cents. You know, giving is the secret to blessing when it's in balance. God will honor every bit of giving. In fact, he has a heart for those that give, you know, sacrificially, not just the rich people. And here's just a word, you know, from him. And he looked up and saw the rich putting their gifts into the treasury. And he saw also a certain poor widow putting in 2 mites. So he said, truly I say to you that this poor widow has put in more than all. For all these out of their abundance have put in offerings for God, but she out of her poverty put in all the livelihood that she had. So he has a special place, a special appreciation when you give sacrificially, you know, when you're able to give above and beyond your own wants and desires. So are you not giving of your own because you don't think you have enough? Well, doesn't that kind of bring it full circle again? Every penny you get, every penny you've ever had, and every penny you ever make always comes from him. So do you struggle with wanting to give more, to do more for the kingdom? I know several people on this call. I've had many deep conversations with them. And they have just such a heart, you know, for certain ministries. And they're like, oh, man, I just wish I could do something. And you tell you something, you can do something. But unless you kick yourself into gear and understand that God provides the money, unless you're willing to get out there and work and understand that it's all him. He'll honor the desires of your heart, but he will not honor you just sitting back saying, well, if I had money, and you're not even putting in the effort to get the money. Believe me, he will fund his kingdom, but he expects you to have the balance and the perspective to be obsessively preoccupied with the needs of others, to do things in the right order that he calls them to do, and believe me, you will have the abundance to be able to help these people. So now you understand the purpose of working and of our business. You understand that it's God's economy, it's not our own. And the more focused we are on work, the desire for more, the fruit of our labor, the more we understand the purpose of our work and the purpose of our money, everything and every ounce of effort and money God supplies, then we know that we have the balance. So are you squandering your time and your money? I can't answer that for you. Only you can answer that for yourself. You know, I try to do my part. I know that in this world of ours, if I didn't, you know, make a true effort to be able to give my time and everything else, I do that in multiple ways. You know, if I didn't make that effort, then I would never get there either. And I can tell you that, you know, with money, so many people are ashamed. Like, you might be someone that goes to church and you're struggling. You can't even really meet all your needs. You know, how am I going to do this? And you might be embarrassed that you would just pull out 50 cents and put it in an offering plate. But rest assured, You got $5 in your account or $5 to your name and you put in 50 cents, it's going to be honored. So, we've got to learn to give every resource God gives us. He gives us life. He gives us time. He gives us work or a business. He gives us people, and he gives us money. So on that note, I'd like to open it up if we have anybody that would like to question or comment on what we've talked about today. Again, this was going to conclude this message, that we have, and so I wanted to share it with you and see if you have any thoughts or whatever. I'm trying to get my screen up here so I can see. I see Brenda has her hand up, so hold on one second, Brenda. I'm going to unmute you. Okay, friend, you're open mic now.
Yes, Lynn, thank you. I wanted to say this series was phenomenal. I know you mentioned this was your last one on these biblical business principles from the Bible. And you mentioned at the beginning of the call you can't grow your business until you grow yourself. And that is so true.
Mm-hmm.
I find, and I don't know on the call who's believers and who's non-believers, but I'll tell you, if you try to take these secrets and work them within yourself, sometimes you can be very, I know I do, even as a believer, get frustrated on some of these things. And secret number 3 was the key for me, willing to change. But with that willingness to change, for me, is knowing Jesus Christ. And I have to mention that because a lot of people go out there, people who don't know the Lord, try to do these things on their, for themselves and become very frustrated or don't see success.
Right.
And giving your life to the Lord, God changes your heart. And when God changes your heart, when you open your heart to that invitation, he's always there with his arms open saying, come to me,
Right.
to be saved. He works in your heart. And when he begins to work in your heart, you will find these secrets becoming a part of your business, becoming a part of your life, becoming a part of your family. And for me personally, that's the key to these. They're very good. What you taught, Lynn, I thoroughly enjoyed the series, and I just want to give people opportunities to say, hey, it can happen, but you don't have to be these things first. It's opening your heart to Christ first,
Right.
and these things, as you grow, become a part of who you are.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for your words this morning, Brenda. I appreciate your encouragement and support and day after day after day. So thank you for sharing that. And she's absolutely right. For us, those of us that are believers on this call, I would think that probably most of us are, because I think I probably would have stepped on the toes of people who don't believe. But also there's a danger in being comfortable in our faith. I think when Brenda said that the one lesson that really, inspired her was change. Well, you can't be comfortable and change at the same time. You got to get uncomfortable. So it's when we get comfortable in our life, in our relationships, in our faith, as a parent, in our business, when we get lax and too comfortable, that's when we got a problem, big problem. So we always have to be willing to change. And it is, for me, I share that, as well, Brenda, that, it's because of my faith, because that I want to be all that I can be. I want to be the woman that God made me to be, and it takes a logical commitment to that as well. It's not just heart. The heart drives the train, but it takes a logical, methodical, sometimes step to do that. And I think a lot of that has been in this series has just been raising awareness. We are in times of great need. These are troubling times, guys. And there are a lot of needs out there, and many of us, are struggling to meet our own needs. And I just want to inspire everybody. Money's not an evil thing. Money's a good thing. And if there's ever been a time that God's kingdom needs money, it's right now. And so we have health and time and everything that we can give, to be able to go to a next level financially so that we can help give our time and our resources for those needs. So thank you for sharing that, Brenda. Next one in line was Pam. Pam, hold on one second. Okay, you should be open mic, Pam. Go ahead.
I want to thank you, Lynn, so very, very much from the bottom of my heart for these series calls that you've been giving since I've joined and been on your team. You have taught me a lot. As you know, I am very much a believer in the Lord and my faith, and you have helped me so much in so many ways with these calls, and I truly, truly appreciate them. And I just can't tell you how much it has helped me to know that I have to change myself. I have to believe that things will, you know, as you say, get better.
Right.
I'm not a greedy person, and you know how I am, and I just want to thank you so very, very much, and I look forward to doing more on your team and helping the Lord in every way I can.
That's beautiful, Pam. Thank you so much for sharing. You're welcome. You know that what I do, that is part of my sacrificial giving. It's my time. You know, the Lord gives all of us gifts. Every single one of you has a gift, and nobody's gift's better than the other person's gift. One of my gifts is doing what I do, and it's an honor and a privilege to do that. And it's so cool to see, Pam, you know, when you first came on the team, first of all, my hat goes off to her, because just as soon as she got involved, okay? You tell her to be on a call, she's on a call. You tell her to do this, she's doing it. She's just so hungry to learn. And it does start with us, you know, and in this world that we're in, this business, it really is 99.9% of the battle is growing us. And when we can build our character and our faith, and we can be people of integrity, and we can get some of these principles down pat, always hungering for more and always being obsessively preoccupied with the needs of others, that's when we grow. So it's we're all a work in progress, you know. None of us are going to meet the mark in this lifetime, but we all strive, and it's good to be there for each other. And it's been my honor to bring forth this message. I don't know why I knew this was the last one, but this is the last one. I'm sure it's not the last lessons that you'll hear, but it's the last of this series. Now, I thank you again, Pam. And I see Mike Cassidy's hand up. So, Mike, I'm unmuting you. Should we open mic, my friend?
Thanks, Lynn. Yeah, great message this morning about giving. And if you look at the people that are most successful in our business, it's the ones that give constantly.
Right.
You know, in any of the leaders, you know, like Rome, or you know, the list goes on, but those people give of their time, they give of their expertise, you know, and they spend, you know, a lot of their resources traveling around the country, you know, helping other people out.
Right.
And with the Enagic business opportunity, we have a tremendous vehicle to help people, you know, get out of their financial hole, or, you know, if that's their issue, or you know, it all goes back to that true health concept.
It does.
You know, which I'm glad to see that EWS has taken the lead on that, and they're really putting together a good system for us to get that message out. And you know, we don't sell water machines.
No.
I mean, we provide a total health solution.
Right.
You know, physical health, financial health, emotional or mental health, spiritual health. So, you know, I want to urge everybody that's on the call to listen in to the EWS series. The second one is on tonight at 9 o'clock. We sent out a link to get on that, you know, if you don't have it already, if you're not part of the EWS system. But I see that as a tremendous vehicle for us, you know, propelling our business forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Mike. It's so true, and thanks for the reminder about the EWS call. And yeah, it's, you know, he brings up such a good point, because I've shared this with some people. Forgive me if you're hearing it for the 10th time. Some of you on the line probably haven't heard it, but, you know, it was such a point of humility for me when we did the first Super Saturday here. And, you know, to me inspired me. She told me to step up, shut up and step up, basically is what she was saying. And I stepped up to try to help facilitate that event. But I came from a background, you know, where I was paid ridiculous amounts of money just to show up and speak. And yet then we have this event, and these people, you know, Romy, to me, they just showed up. They did. Omar later, Bill Powers, you know, they just showed up to serve us with no financial gain, and they didn't have their hand out saying, pay me to be there. It was very, very humbling for me. It was a big turning point for me in my life and in my business, because Mike's absolutely right. You look at some of these people. I remember one of our Super Saturdays, Romy was telling his story about, he was talking about his success, what level he is. If you haven't seen Romy speak, he's the most humble man you'll ever see in your life. But he was talking about how he reached this level and all of their problems were forever over for their family, their kids and their grandkids. I mean, how much, and he said they were thinking, how much money do some person need? And he kind of sat back for a little bit. And then one day he said they have planted 13 churches in the Philippines. And basically he was saying what we have been talking about today in terms of, time and money. And he said, but God gave me the ability to make this money. And the more I make, the more I can help the kingdom. So who am I to sit back and quit? And that's really what we're talking about. Mike's so right. These people just give and give and give and give. Their time, their resources, they give their money. They give it away. They have learned that balance in life, that none of the time belongs to them. None of the resources belong to them. And we are all, everybody that shares this journey, everybody on this call that shares our journey in this business, Pat Cassidy has said it often, it's so true, it is a gift. It's not by mistake that you were brought into this fold, that you found this company or this company found you. It's not by mistake. And so what we do with it, if we look at it as a business and we look at it to get a check, whatever that level we are, and we salivate for that little check, and that's all that makes our world go round, we will never, ever see success. We've got to put some of these principles to work. We have been blessed, immensely blessed, with this opportunity to go out and spread that true health message. And again, as Mike said, it's physical health. Some people, that's how we meet up with them. And as we get to know them and talk to them, we hear about they have some struggles there. Well, we can meet that need. And, or if they're saying, oh my gosh, I got out of corporate America 10 years ago. I'm making half of what I used to make. I can't get a job, can't keep a job. We might have that financial platform for them. We do if they want to work it. And then all of it comes down to, if we're obsessively preoccupied with their needs, guess what? They're going to see the compassion in us. And as they see the compassion in us, they're going to be open to lots of things. One thing would be they might be spiritually driven. They might be spiritually inspired. They already have a faith. They might just have come out of their place of depression because now they have hope. There's whatever those needs are, we got something that can fill those needs if we have us right. So that's been really the core of this message. I don't see any other hands up. Anybody else want to add anything? Question, comment before we conclude the call and the series? Anybody out there? I'm trying to scroll down because we've got so many people on this call. Anybody out there, just raise your hand. I see Brenda again. Okay, Brenda, you're open mic.
I do, Lynn, because I do want to make a comment on what Mike talked about. And this call is a team call. So I want to make this comment. Lynn, you're always inspiring us by your emails and by teaching stuff like this, business principles from the Bible, and these calls. I do want to thank Mike and Pat, because one thing that they did that really motivated me and inspired me was really encouraging us to go to EWS. I'm telling you guys, I was a member, like, I want to say, kind of played with it, the website, and it's a tool for our business. That's why I raised my hand to really look into that website. And if you take a look at that website and see how professional that is for your business, I'm proud to be part of that, a member of EWS. I'm proud to be attending those 9 o'clock calls on Wednesday nights. And Mike and Pat, I have to tell you, you really motivated me, inspired me by your communication of sending it out, and the newsletters you send out. Those newsletters, if people would take time to read those, it helps educate us on our product. It helps educate us on water, about our health, and they're very, very inspiring. And that's why I raised my hand again, Lynn, because I want to encourage people to take a look at that EWS website and how it can benefit. It's a tool. The things that you teach are character building, and we need that too. But then we need those other tools that, just drive our business and help our business. And I have to say, Mike, thank you and Pat, for inspiring me to do a little more with that website, read up on it a little more, because it's information and knowledge out there that makes us become a better person, okay, and to grow us and to grow our business. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Brenda, for sharing that. And you're absolutely right. It's got to be a mix of things. And constantly character building and tool building, and there can't be just one and not the other. All of us as leaders, we need to be both. We need to be giving practical advice and help and leading people in the right direction so they have the tools to succeed. and we also need to be working on the character. So it's really an application of both, and you're right. And I'm assuming that you're talking about the newsletters being sent out. They're actually, if you aren't aware of this, they're coming through EWS. So if you get your people to, sign up, or you sign your people up on the EWS, which is, by the way, a great thing about this call that's coming out, you can just put their name and their email address in. But if you get people to, to click on and to put their information in, they're going to get those. It's on autopilot. That's the way that's always been, and they have taken it to the next level now. It's really a great tool that we have. So thank you for, for emphasizing that today. And I think that's it. Let me do one last scroll through to see if I have any. Oh, I see Mike again. Hold on. Let me get Mike in there. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I just want to thank Brenda for those comments she made. I mean, we really appreciate that type of feedback, and that's really why we do this, is to help people develop and help them create their own business. And we have a tremendous platform here to work with, but it's going to take work, and all these things take work and take communication. So the more you put into it, it's like anything else in life. The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it.
That's right.
So I encourage everybody to take that step and just go to the call tonight, look at it, and I think you'll be proud, like Brenda said, to be associated with a platform like
right.
that.
Yeah, it's so encouraging.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate everything you do.
Well, thank you, Mike, and I appreciate you guys, and I think that is such a great point, and it's, like Mike said, it does take work. I remember Mike and I would sit either before or after a meeting on Monday night, like 2 years of training. When we did Monday night meeting training, there was no character building in that. It was all about what do you do, how do you do it, who do you talk to, what do you say. And we would sit there and just like, oh gosh, when are they going to apply any of this stuff? So again, I think, it's a great sharing of the tools. I'm not diminishing that at all. But I am saying it does come back to what Brenda was saying originally, and that's change. Because so much of this, we see improvement like with things like EWS, but the training and the practical tools and the character building and all those things are always been there. All you got to do is tap into it. So that's where the work comes in that Mike's talking about. And we do appreciate all that. Thank you so much. I see Sonia's hand up here. So Sonia, hold on one second, my friend. You are open mic now. Sonia, with us? Are you with us? You might have your side muted out, or that might have been a mistake. So are you with us, Sonia? You had your hand up. And it's up again. I'm not sure if you meant that to be. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Are you there?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Sonia from Delaware. On your call. A little bit nervous. I've never been on a webinar before. That I spoke. I listened to your calls with Tamia.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the inspiration. Thanks for kicking me in the butt.
You're welcome.
It's kind of an open territory here in Delaware for a NAGIC.
Mm-hmm.
There's only 3 of us.
Wow.
We're trying to get things together, but like you said, it's a tough road. You just have to keep stepping one foot in front of the other and believe that, with Christ in your life, you can do anything.
That's right.
But I just was curious when the next series is going to start, so I can plan to put it on my calendar and of things to do. And thank you for the inspiration.
Oh, Sonia, you're so sweet. Thank you for your kind words. I'm so glad that, you've been blessed, and boy, you have a great opportunity up there. I'm going to mute you back out. With only a few people in your region, and, because we share the same faith, I do want to say that sometimes I have to remind myself, when it's all a numbers game. That's kind of a cold way of putting it, but it really is a numbers game. But, I remind myself as a Christian, so is the salvation message. How many people will I talk to before someone will listen? And that doesn't mean that I should get discouraged and quit telling people. I mean, come on, you know, that's what we do. And so with your business and with all of us, by the way, whether there's 3 people or 3,000 people in an area, it really does come down to the more people we share with, the more lives we change. The more people we share with, the more lives we change. So we have to keep going. And then to answer your question, Tanya, I don't know. I mean, this was totally inspired. Totally, I know I threw so many of our team members off because I took our team call where we were going through practical steps of training, and I just turned it into a spiritual thing. And so I don't know, but you're on the list now, my friend, so you'll know for sure. When God tells me, I'll tell you, and I look forward to you being on the call. Let me see, one last shot here. I see that Pam's hand is up again. Hold on one second here, Pam. And Pam, you're open mic now. You with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. I was wondering more about the EWS newsletter and those call-ins, and how would I go about getting on the newsletter and also joining in on the calls on Wednesday evening?
I'll send that back out. It came out with a whole bunch of stuff in an emails to you, so I'll send that back out to you. And it's just a
okay.
just all you got to do is click and you'll be registered away. So I'll send that out to you. Thanks for letting me know that you don't have it. So we want to be sure you're on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Looks like that's it. So guys, I just want to thank everybody that's been on this call, my team particularly, you know, for accommodating me through the spiritual series. I don't know what's coming next or what God has for me, but I do know that it's all good stuff. And it's been my honor to do what he had me to do, and it's always my honor to work with you guys. You're blessing me. You bless me beyond any words I could ever share with you. So thank you for that. I hope that these calls have been recorded. Each week I've emailed out the recording. I also post that up on YouTube. So if there have been nuggets there for you, I hope you'll revisit it from time to time, get a little shot in the arm, and whatever comes next, comes next. So you guys go have a blessed day. Thanks for being with us today, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.